It's wonderful to see all of you again. I don't know if you're aware of it, but when I was growing up, I was very much affected by this underlying understanding that prevailed at the time and still prevails today, that we live in a mechanistic universe, a universe that is neutral and doesn't really care about us, and that we are sort of an accident that happened there. This is an understanding that in the, I don't know how many hundreds of years, maybe 3 or so more, has been prevalent, and it has a definite impact on us. But of course, if you think that you are living in this universe that is huge and awesome, and that it's really dead in terms of not caring, and that there is no consciousness there. This is a very strange idea after I now have practiced so many years. And fortunately, I think, the old traditions, Shaivism and many other branches of practice traditions, emphasized, and also including the so-called primitive. It's a question whether they are more primitive than us or not. I don't think they are. But the Indians and different tribes and the way they were relating to nature and the world that they experienced was much more alive. They related to forces around them as being alive and constantly renewing themselves. And I've told you this story here before, but when I was 17, 18, 19, I started to feel really alienated. I wasn't really in touch I didn't feel at home in my body. I didn't feel at home in the city where I lived. I didn't feel at home in the country. And then all of a sudden I was ripped out of that country when my dad died, and I was suddenly in America, and I was even more alienated. It was like a leaf in the wind, I didn't have any roots. I didn't feel connected to the planet or the cosmos. But despite all that, I did have this feeling coming from deep within me, some kind of grace that said very clearly, there has to be more to life than this. I mean, if all there is to life, is living in a dead universe and being alienated and separated from everything and everybody, and just concentrating on making some money and having things and materials, I mean, this is a very, very limited experience. So I'm very grateful that this something bubbled up in me through grace that said, yeah, there has to be more than this, and I want it. I want to feel more. And of course then, as you know, then I met Rudy and I started to practice. And there, the whole focus was on feeling the energy flow and feeling the light at the core of my own being and of being in general. And, it's really amazing that we are light first. And light is a little bit like, it's like the source of all material manifestation. So most likely, before there is a human baby born or any creature is born, there is some kind of energy formation that exists first. It's like a soul light. And our deepest self is light. It is light. We are light. Our soul is light. And there is a vibration there that unfolds as sound, and every kind of manifestation appears from that vibration. And interesting thing is that modern science now, they're all talking about this modern science and cosmology that indicates, that it is always renewing itself. And this is also, of course, rooted in quantum physics. Every second, or much shorter than a second, the world is recreated. So when I'm looking at you and you're looking at me, we are just really seeing the creative force behind existence manifesting. And it's our illusion as human beings that there is, and of course it's a very useful illusion. We need to have our senses, picking up on the everyday reality. But the difficulty is that sensory reality veils the deeper nature of our being, which we can only contact through this kind of inner practice. And the longer I do this practice, the more I realize that what I'm investing in is familiarizing myself with the deeper energy flow and light that I am, and thus one, with the universe, and even beyond the universe, beyond time and space, the source of the whole universe, what in science they call the metaverse or the mother universe, which is identical with the ultimate as described in Kashmir Shaivism and other ancient tradition. So when you realize yourself as being that, well then, the whole point of living is to dissolve this illusion that we live in a mechanistic world and that we are separate from ourselves and everybody else, and to really feel comfortable, and not exactly comfortable, but centered, and really allowing ourselves to surrender into that reality, which is the living universe that we are all part of. And we do it, by starting out witnessing, and not getting lost in the surface qualities, but having that non-attachment that makes it possible for us to see the underlying quality. And from that witnessing, we gradually go a step further and we realize, well, gee, I'm not only witnessing this unfolding, I am a participant in it. So everything that, and we dealt with this in the Akashic field course, those of you who are in that, all of our actions, all of the things that we are and feel and do are registered by the universe itself, by the field that is at the core of everything that unfolds. Everything is recorded and memorized. And it's available to us also, if we can tune into it. You've all had that experience that suddenly you have a thought about your mother and suddenly your mother calls. Or some other thing, where you automatically feel connected beyond time and space. Boom, it just happens. So we all have that ability, but I think, what we are training ourselves to do, and I'm getting old, so it's closer for me than it is for many of you. I want to be totally trained as much as I can be so that when I'm dying, I can put aside everything else and maintain my centered awareness so that whatever is on the other side, I will be open to it. Who knows what's on the other side? But most likely, there is something. This light is going to continue to vibrate. And who knows what kind of experiences there are. But if we get overwhelmed by the illusion of the story of our life or the details in a way that takes all of our attention, we're not going to be able to recognize the deeper self, the deeper light that we are. If we are deeply invested in the light at the core of our being, then moving into this other side will be a movement from light into light. Now, for those, some of you, you're young, you have a long way to go living, but I would recommend, as much as you can, invest in that sense of eternity, that reality of eternity, beyond time and space, that you are a part of, and I am part of. Forget about all the small stuff. And really, the longer you live, the more you realize it's all small stuff compared to this awareness.